I'm talking with Laurence Skelly. We're getting, within spitting distance, as they say, of the TT. And we have to go back to that. Probably something you don't want to talk about to me. But we still got the ongoing dispute. And first of all, I'm going to have to ask you, what can you tell me, what you can't? Are you under strict instructions not to talk about Vision 9?
Still the same situation. We're under sub judice, so I really can't comment on that. However, what I would say is, as you say, we're on the eve of TT, and numbers are looking very strong. We're hoping it's going to be a very positive TT going forward.
But the fallout of technically this year would not be your baby now. It should be in the private sector. What ramifications, if any, did it cause with all those other contractors? I mean, there must have been some sort of fallout because people thought that was the end of as it was, and they were getting ready to pitch and do whatever they did.
And I think everyone who was working with us up to that particular juncture understood, where we were at, and I'm glad to say that we've managed to secure all those contracts for this next year. What we would be looking to do is then, of course, have long-term commitments going forward. So we believe we've got a very good, strong, solid foundation in place, and that's what's always been in place. So for your average fan and so forth that turns up and watches the TT, won't see any different.
When we find out the future, I mean, is that the end of the road still, or are you pursuing it again at some point to put this into the private?
No, well, I think you've got to say that we already do have contractors out there that we use. For example, the media. This is a great example, and we would look to see how we could expand that further. We believe there are significant opportunities in that area, and that's what we've tried to do here: is identify where those opportunities are and to see who we could actually partner and contract.
Well,
with.
The TV rights are up, aren't they? In the sense you pitch those out,
and of course that's what we that we're at the first stage with that.
Is it for this year's event or for next?
No, for next year.
Right, okay, not that close.
But we had to do it early enough so as to give people the opportunity to prepare for that. And we're talking about moving rights, not just TV rights there.
But we're in the situation, are we not, that unusually that you still pay to have the thing made? I mean, you own the rights, admittedly, to the TV thing.
Yeah.
These people don't come in here and offer you shed loads of money. You have to pay them to do it at some point, don't you?
Well, we will see as we go through that particular process. We believe that there is significant value to be achieved out of this, and we will be looking to see how do we as the Isle of Man gain the best value whilst we're promoting a sport and activity that's a benefit to our economy through tourism, but how do we promote the wider Isle of Man as well?
ITV4 gets the best figures it ever sees. A station, by the way, we can't see on the Isle of Man if you just got normal terrestrial television, but that's another story that grates me immensely.
ITV4 you can't get?
You know what I mean. But I mean, Sky, there's always been a potential for live coverage, albeit I should imagine with some sort of delay system in it, and that's always been in their contract, the last contract, that it could be bumped at any time if someone wanted to jump to the next step.
Yes.
Do you see it like, I mean, eventually big TVs everywhere, being a more that sort of event where...
Yes, I think you're definitely moving into that area of the... We would already recognise those opportunities were there, and what we will be doing is to seek how we would actually capitalise on that. So in terms of enhancing the experience for the visitor here, should that be screens elsewhere, and also streaming is a very, very real possibility.
No red arrows? I mean, they couldn't be booked. I think it's the channels had the same issue, but is that still what you should be doing as a government, putting on entertainment for the public? Is that how you see the future going?
There lies one of the areas that we look at, is to see how do we contract out elements of what we do for TT. What is very, very important that will never change, of course, is the operation of the actual event itself. In other words, the races and the involvement there of people like the ACU and the marshals and all the other people that that's really important that we as a government centralise that and manage that definitely.
Massive changes to UK law, or not UK, English law, to let road racing happen. I mean, by very nature of what's historically, the Isle of Man has the races because they couldn't do it anywhere else.
Yes, it is a good point. Yeah.
There is potential, isn't there? There's going to be some place in the middle of nowhere who can put on some sort of bike thing, but have all those extra safety issues done, which is something, I mean, it's not going to be in 2 years, 3 years, but long term, this could be hugely impacting on the TT, couldn't it?
The theory, yes, of course. Although there are other events that we do know that do happen elsewhere. Road races do happen and have been around for quite a long time. They have their own following, and are they going to compete with the magnitude of and the uniqueness of the TT?
I'm thinking about a rider who has got two options to do the TT and possibly, have all those implications of phone boxes or anything else that's just there. Where compare that with doing a road race, but with more of those runoff areas, whatever.
Well, it is.
If you don't get the riders eventually, it would actually tail the TT, wouldn't it? If you think about it, it could be chicken and egg. I'm talking about.
Well, no, I take your point there. They're the riders, but what are they attracted to?
Yeah.
They're attracted to a circuit that's 37 3/4 mile long. It's extremely varied. You've got major planning issues that you would have if you were trying to start this again. And I think if you didn't have it and you try and start it, I imagine there's huge obstacles there. So we believe that it's very unique. It's a huge buy-in from the people of the Isle of Man, not to mention all the volunteers that contribute to it.
You can tell me how much money it makes the Isle of Man as well, aren't
you?
Well,
and I suspect that is why English authorities may say, hey, hang on a minute, this is of great economic benefit. Do we want to consider doing something similar?
And people won't have that transport implication, of course.
Oh, they wouldn't have that. But, I think the appeal of the history, the heritage and the uniqueness of the Isle of Man will remain strong.
Okay. Finally, Martin Brunchval has asked me to go down the zip wire at TT. You going to join us on that? You kissed and made up, you two. You're happy to have a photo opportunity with a beer of TT brew, whatever it's going to be called.
Martin's a constituent of mine.
You're happy to do it?
He's one of my locals. Yeah,
on the zip wire?
I'd be more than happy to if Martin would.
We're going down.
I'll look forward to it. Great end there. So, yeah, thrill seeker together.